last couple of weeks. The one thing that I would say, and they would tell you the same, we got to find some more plays out there because even though we perform well, it still hasn't been enough for us to get our first win. So we take the accountability on our side of the ball. Most importantly, start with me and the coaching staff, and the players feel the same way. We got to find a way to make one more play, and we got our first takeaway in London, and we got to find a way to get more to generate some opportunities for us either to score on defense or get the ball back to our offense. And consistency is what we're looking for again this week against a good football team. Talent all over the board, particularly at that receiving core, and it's a challenge that we're looking forward to this week. And with that, I'll take your questions.
Yeah, just speak on the challenges that you potentially may have without Sauce Gardner this week, especially against that receiving core.
Well, I have a lot of confidence in the guys that we have. Let me say that first and foremost. Are we more talented when Sauce out there? Of course we are. But with AZ and B. Stevens and all the other guys that we have in the fold, I think they're going to be ready to accept the challenge. We know Chase and Higgins are outstanding players, but again, I have total confidence in our guys that we can get it done.
How have you seen AZ progress? I mean, we missed a lot of training camp, so a lot of his work has been during the season.
I've seen a lot, and I think even last week in regards to him coming in the game when Sauce went out, you see the confidence, you see his ability that he's not shying away from the positions that we putting him in, particularly man-to-man I'm talking about. At the end of the game, that was more technique in that situation, but you saw where he came up with a huge play on third down to get us off the field. So he has a lot of confidence. We have a lot of confidence in him, along with his teammates. So I'm not worried at all about him going out there and performing well.
What did you like most about Malachi Moore when you guys drafted him? And then can you speak to his development and how he's getting more time there at the safety position in the next starting role over the last few games?
Physical, our brand, smart, come from a winning program, understand what it takes. So he's bringing that culture that we embody here at the Jets. And you can see, and I said this from day one to the coaching staff, it's not too big for him. He's out there and he's improving. He doesn't shy away from the competition and things that he has to do. He gives us flexibility and to be able to play nickel, safety, dime. So I'm excited that he's out there and, he's progressing and moving forward each week.
How valuable is it to have a guy who just got Jarvis that you can put on the outside and the inside? Michael Carter might be back too, so at least you're getting some healthy guys. Yeah,
and it's credit to our personnel department in bringing in again talented players, tough players. As I mentioned earlier, a couple of weeks ago, Coach Harris had him at Tennessee, so he knows the DNA and the makeup of this young man, and he's definitely stepped in and shown it. He showed that by forcing that first takeaway of ours, and just his physical presence on the perimeter with the screens and things like that, stepping up in the run game. When you look at our defense and how we play that position, I mean, he's a DB in the pass game, but he's a linebacker when it comes to run fits, and he's not, shying away at all for stepping up in the core and making plays.
Your defense has 10 sacks in 7 games. I know you talked about just making more plays. How can you register more sacks?
Well, I think creatively it starts with me and really trying to put guys in position, moving around. This league is all about matchups, and you have to find that perfect matchup, and that may equate to putting certain guys on different individuals, and that's something that we look at each week. So hopefully we can be able to generate some more, and I'm looking forward to that against the Bengals.
7 games without an interception. How mind-boggling is that to you?
I would love to tell you that I wish we had 7+, but we don't, and it's something that we emphasize and we talk about. We got to make sure, again, based off the calls and the things that I'm asking these guys to do, that we sort of create those scenarios and situations, and then when we're in position, which we have been, we just got to come up and finish, make plays on the ball.
And one thing that I'd like to talk about, is just is finishing. Something that we've talked about here quite a little bit, and something that we're working on a daily basis is finishing. And that goes all the way down to every single play, is finishing the play from the start of the the start of the snap to the end of to the echo of the referee's whistle. That goes through finishing a series with a touchdown instead of field goals to open up games, and it also goes to finishing games when we have the opportunity. We've been in 5 one-score games so far this year, and on offense we've had the chance 3 times to win the game at the end of the game, and unfortunately we came up short in all those areas in those 3 instances. So something that we've been focusing on is really finishing and getting the ability to finish in those situations by really honing our details and honing our craft and studying diligently in the classroom, and I think we're making headway there. Okay, we're looking forward to this challenge this week with Cincinnati, and it's a good outfit over there. They run and they hit. They're fast, and it's going to be a good challenge for us. But we look forward to it. With that, any questions?
In terms of you speak about finishing, but how do you get off to faster starts so you won't be down so much like towards the end of the game?
So what I would say is I would come back to that and say we need to finish the drives at the beginning of the openers. Say we're on the opening script. We've gotten down there and kicked field goals. I believe it's 4 games. Where we'd like to finish with field goals there. And again, that just goes into sustaining the drive and finishing each and every drive in the end zone when we get down into the red zone. And again, that's just on us continuing to be detailed with our craft. And then continue that consistency through the second quarter into the third quarter. You know what I mean? Yeah.
How are you managing the quarterback situation this week in terms of practice, dynamics, reps? Because obviously it has not been announced. So how do you manage that?
Yeah, I know AG has talked about that situation, and I really don't have much to add on the quarterback situation.
How disappointing is it? Like, you had so much expectation from Justin and everything coming in, and just be how disappointed is to just kind of be in this position at this point?
Disappointed, you're saying?
Yeah, for Justin, like that he's in this position.
Sure, I'm disappointed for our team. You know that we're sitting here at 0-7, not just individually for Justin. I mean, I'm disappointed that I haven't been able to help deliver wins on a consistent basis for the team, not just Justin individually. So to me, this is there's quarterbacks and there's always going to be not uncertainty, but questions around the quarterback. It's the main focal point of a team a lot of the times, but really it's about the unit and the team and us finding ways to get better and improve. And so we're working on a daily basis, myself included.
How much does it point on you? Because you're play caller, you're designing everything, and you guys haven't scored a touchdown in 2 games, and all this stuff about finishing. Does it weigh on you, and what are you trying to do differently?
Yeah, we've been talking about getting better 1% every day around here this week, and that's something that you have to look inside and say, what else can you do? And so there has been some searching, on my part to see what can I do better to help us and to really put those guys in the position to have success consistently throughout the game. And there's a few things that I'm finding, which is really good, and that's going to help us. But if you ask me, am I frustrated? I think everybody probably has a level of frustration when you go a couple of games without scoring a touchdown. As an offense, you want to score those points. But at the end of the day, it goes back to we're in a game. It's a tight 1-score game in the NFL with an opportunity to finish on offense, and really we didn't get the job done at the end. And that maybe is the most disappointing thing, if you will.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Can you speak about Mason Taylor's feel for the game in terms of space and coverages, and also what do you like best about his mindset?
Yeah, I'll start with his mindset. I think it just comes like innately. He was born with this instinctual, these instincts. But where it comes from him is his family, like where he came from and the people that he's been around. I think that started at an early age for him, and so that's just continued to grow. He is a very instinctual player, as you guys can see, and he's continuing to improve each and every single week. We're excited to continue to see where he goes.
There's been no touchdowns in the first half for 6 straight games.
Yeah.
You're getting into some historic territory.
Mm-hmm.
How much responsibility do you take on that? And are there things you can do maybe in terms of practice script, your script or practice just to try to jumpstart the offense?
No, it's a great question. And as the offensive coordinator, ultimately, it all falls on my shoulders, and it's my responsibility to make sure that the offense is prepared to go out and execute at a high level. And unfortunately, we have not been able to finish drives. Again, the finish word is coming up again. We have not done a good enough job finishing those drives in the first half. And again, that's something that we've talked about and we continue to work.
Do you have a script, right? I mean, you go with the traditional 15-play script?
We have the openers. Yeah.
Do you feel like you've involved Brees in the passing game enough the last few weeks?
Do we think we've evolved, Brees?
Involved.
I gotcha. I think we have to pick our spots with that. When you play a team like Denver, who's the number one, I think we talked about this last week, who's the number one sack team in the league for 2 years in a row, and they've got these werewolves on the edge, protection is first and foremost in the pass game. And so I think they've maybe been a little bit more involved in helping in the protection plan as opposed to free releasing and getting out. However, I think you've seen us free release a little bit at times over the last few games, but I don't think it's been a lack of want to, if that makes sense to you. I think it's just been a matter of what we feel is maybe best for the protection plan that week.
But things aren't working like this. I'm just curious, we always ask players about confidence. What's your confidence level that you can around?
My confidence level is at an all-time high. I have total confidence in the outfit, the attitude that they put forward, the way they show up to work in the office, in the meeting rooms, on the practice field. I have the utmost confidence in all of our players and all of our group that we can turn this thing around and find a way to get ourselves in the win column.